Hi, welcome to day 7 of OUTshine Virtual Film Festival for the Q&A for Ellie and Abbie and Ellie's Dead Aunt. I'm Jen Kritz, the board vice chair, and guess who's here? It's Victor Jimenez, our executive director. Hi, Victor. How are you?
Good, and you, Jen?
I'm doing great. We can't see you, but I bet you're feeling good.
I am. Hopefully my picture comes back in.
Feeling good and keeping the lights down low. This is Victor's and my first Q&A together. Victor and I also enjoy the cinema, sharing a laugh, and long walks on the beach together.
That's because, Jen, you are my beard.
I am, and you can't tell this, but it's nice to know that I'm his beard because he grew out his own beard. So I thought that, that would be enough for you, but I'm glad to hear that I'm still your beard.
Exactly.
So Vic, tell us about the community partners today.
So the festival believes we grow stronger together, and we like teaming up with different community partners to work with us. And we have 2 community partners for this film. The first community partner is Aqua Foundation for Women, and now we have a word from their executive director, Grace Lopez.
Hi, everyone. We're incredibly excited to partner with the OUTshine Film Festival to offer you 2 films this year. My name is Grace Lopez, and I'm the Executive Director of Aqua Foundation for Women. Aqua Foundation was founded in 2004, and since then, it continues to be at the forefront to creating the funding, support, vital spaces, resources, education, and mentorships for the LGBTQ women, trans and non-binary individuals, and youth homelessness. Our mission is to serve and support the lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community in South Florida. We do this through scholarships, grants, and initiatives important to our community. We started our grants program in 2005 to support projects that supported causes that matter to LGBTQ women. We have funded hundreds of thousands of dollars to projects supporting issues such as the LGBTQ youth who are homeless or at risk, women's health, research, the film festival, and general funds to many of our South Florida local LGBTQ organizations. In 2007, the Scholarship Mentor Program was created to expand and develop South Florida's LGBTQ leaders. This program was designed to assist the LGBTQ individual with a higher education and to guide and encourage them to becoming leaders within our community. Both programs have provided close to $1 million to the South Florida community. Over the years, Aqua has expanded our programming to supporting many issues that are important to the LGBT community in South Florida. Some of these programs and initiatives, which many of you have come to know, are our LGBTQ Family Barbecue, our Scholarship Mentor Program, our Emerging Leadership Conference, our Ally Awards, Aqua Grow, Aqua Affair, TransCon, and Aqua Cares Emergency Assistance Program. And our newest initiative, Aqua Cares, which is about connecting people in the LGBT community with valuable and meaningful conversations that create impact and opportunity for others. I invite you to get to know us and become a part of the Aqua family by reaching out to us at aquafoundation.org or emailing us at info@aquafoundation.org. Thank you and enjoy your film.
And our next community partner is Safe Schools. Thank you, Safe Schools.
Hey everyone, my name is Eddie and I'm a volunteer for Safe Schools South Florida. Safe Schools has been working since 1991 to create safer schools where all students can learn and succeed, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression, of their own or that of their parents or guardians. I'm a gay man and my pronouns are he, him, his. Growing up in Miami, I can relate to the challenges we've all experienced. Sometimes it's been our friends at school who aren't really accepting of our sexual identity or expression. Other times, it could even be our own family who you have trouble getting to accept us. I understand, and I'm here for you during this time of COVID-19 to help talk about the things that concern you. Starting today, Safe Schools is going to launch a series of fun and engaging online programs. Since we can't meet in person, we can get together online for this. Some of the topics include virtual GSA, which would be an open session where we can talk about matters that are important to our community. We'll also have online book club, where we can discuss our favorite books. And I'm also super excited to talk about exercise and ways that you can practice it at home during quarantine. We could also have a movie night, but for this, you'll need to create a Netflix account. I would love to use this platform to chat with other youth groups and stay in contact with you guys wherever you guys are watching from. But that's not all. We'll also have interviews with some of our local South Florida celebrities, and you'll be able to ask them questions about LGBTQ+ issues. Some of you may have never heard of Safe Schools South Florida before, but we've been in school classrooms for almost 30 years now. We are an active resource for school district staff coordinating LGBTQ programs and services. We have trained over 20,000 educators throughout South Florida who have directly and positively impacted the lives of an estimated 3 million students. Our work and programs have been recognized nationally by the American Federation of Teachers and statewide by the Florida Governor's Commission on Best Practices for Youth Suicide Prevention. Now, let's hear from members of our board of directors as well as our executive director.
Hi everybody, this is Scott. I'm the new executive director of Safe Schools South Florida. You know, COVID set in before I had a chance to meet any of you because I just joined in January. But I want to make sure that while we're apart, we at Safe Schools are still able to provide you information that leads you to a safe place and a feeling of comfort. So I hope you'll enjoy our programming. Sometimes it'll be live, sometimes it'll be recorded, sometimes it'll be fun, sometimes it'll be educational. But nonetheless, whatever it is that you're tuning in to see, we hope that it helps make you feel safe. I look forward to meeting all of you very soon.
So thank you for tuning in to our very first Safe Schools South Florida broadcast. Give us a like and follow us on all our channels so you can hear about when we plan to meet next. You can find us on Facebook if you look up Safe Schools South FL, on Instagram at Safe Schools South Florida, and on Twitter at schools_South. Thanks again for watching our Safe Schools South Florida program. I hope to get to know all of you soon, and stay safe and strong during this quarantine. See ya.
We are excited to have three beautiful ladies to interview today at OUTshine for the incredible film Ellie and Abbie and Ellie's Dead Aunt, which was my pick of the festival. So let's introduce our guests. Our first panelist is known for her film Skin Deep, writing and producing for Tonightly with Tom Ballard. We have the director and writer of Ellie and Abbie, Monica Zanetti. Our second panelist is known for her work on Love Child and Riz. She plays the lead Ellie. We're thrilled to have Sophie Hawkshaw. And you will recognize our third panelist from Starting From Now and All About E. She plays Ellie's dead aunt Tara. We have Julia Billington. Hi, ladies. How are you?
Hello.
So, and we can see Victor. Great.
Yay! All right.
So welcome, Victor. Now you can see his beard. So, you know, I have to say this. So Victor did this funny thing where he grew his beard out. He's one of those guys who just goes to sleep and he wakes up and he has a beard. And so he has done every possible facial hair style. Tell us, you did the mustache, you did the goatee, you did.
I did everything, but it started off where I literally shaved half my face. And I walked around my house for an hour. My husband and my two kids didn't notice for an hour. And finally my son noticed and he laughed. I'm like, are you all blind? Am I just...
Wait, who was it that noticed first? Was it the baby?
Joshua noticed first.
Oh, Joshua. Okay. It's like, just looks at you and cries.
No.
But anyway, well, we're happy to see your whole face now. So, so ladies, you're in from, all of you are from Sydney? Or where are you all?
Yes, we're all from Sydney. I think currently we're all in Sydney.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, ladies. Had a nice long day.
Good morning.
So it's tomorrow for them. So it's Wednesday for us. Well, actually, but this is airing on Saturday, so it'll be Sunday for you when it airs. And by then we may, who knows what's happening by Sunday. So, so the
Just
fact
in the
that you
world.
guys, the fact that you guys are in Australia, I mean, the fact that we do have a virtual festival is kind of amazing in as much as we're able to have these wonderful conversations with filmmakers who are all over the world, because realistically, to have all three of you in Florida right now would be very difficult, especially, you know, with the travel restrictions, but just in general. How are you finding the reception with taking your film around to different virtual festivals? Monica?
It's been surprisingly enjoyable. Like, I thought, it would feel like we were missing out on something, but like the way that they've been done, like the way that film festivals have developed technology and run the screenings. I think particularly like the screenings that kind of happen over a set time period, it still feels very much like community engagement. Like people are watching it at the same time, and people are, we're getting feedback in live time, like the same way you would if it was at a screening. So it's like been a real exciting. I found it to be like a really exciting experience, actually.
Julia and Sophie, are you finding the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, it just means that we get to be part of it as well, all over the world, which has been really special. And even all over Australia, festivals are screening it, and we get to be a part of that, and we might not have been able to if it was all in person. So that's been a really, a joyful thing.
You guys opened for the Mardi Gras Film Festival. That's,
in person.
That's such a big deal.
Before COVID happened.
Julia, I'm sorry, I cut you off, Julia. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just literally going to say the same thing. I mean, it would be amazing to physically be over in Miami, and then, am I allowed to say this, Mon, at other festivals of, where the film is going?
Yes.
Edit that out. You can edit that out. Sure.
Good. But normally what that means then as an actor is that you kind of have to dedicate time to just doing like the publicity work, which is always a blast. But being able to do it via, all of these online mediums still means that, we can be doing other things while we're here at home. So we kind of, it's like we get our cake and can eat it too, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Well, we're really grateful to have you guys, especially knowing what a notoriously good film this is. Opening for Mardi Gras Film Festival is a huge honor. And I understand it was, met with high acclaim. I loved the film. As I mentioned, it was my pick of the festival. And every feedback we've had has always been very positive about your film. So let's get right into it. You guys made it, which in a very interesting way. I understand Monica didn't want to go the route she had gone in the past. You've made films before, or you made certainly Skin Deep, which we showed here. But I understand that instead you decided to start with making a play for this.
Yeah. No, I wrote it as a play because I knew it was a story that I really wanted to tell, but I wasn't sure that, after making Skin Deep, which was such a wonderful experience, but God, so hard. And I wasn't sure I didn't have it in me. Like, I decided I didn't have it in me to make another low budget film, just because of the hurdles and the money and all that kind of stuff. So I wrote it as a play first because I knew that was something I could make. Like, I could do that. Because I do have this thing of when I have something in me that I know this is a great idea and I know it's a good story. If I don't do it and I don't get it out there, then I get very sad. So I was like, if I can make it a play, I can make sure that people see it and that it gets out there. So we did it as a play first, just at a tiny theatre in Sydney, like under a flight path. But we had such a wonderful response, and people loved the play. And for a tiny little, play, it did so well. And everyone who came to see it was just like, this is a film. Like, this is a film script. I don't understand. Like, cute play, but like it's a film, yeah? Like, you're just workshopping a film. So I was like, no, it's a play. And they're like, it's a film. was like, it's a film. And I knew we weren't like, I think because Soph was in the play as well, and we both had this experience of being like, we're not done with this. Like, we know it's got a bigger life. We know it needs to be a film. And so not long after the play closed, did I start the process of turning it into a film.
All right. Sophie, like I didn't realize that you were also in the play, and then and obviously the movie. How was the experience? You know, one thing is one medium and the other is another medium. How was the experience of doing it live night after night, and then and once the role or the medium changed, how did that change for you and your approach to the actual film?
I think they really informed each other. Well, certainly the play informed the film, because a play is like a really long workshop for a film, in the best way. So I love the process in the play of being able to go through those emotions every night, and the big scenes, you could get there because you'd had that whole experience. But I think because I'd done that night after night, it was really already in my body as an actor for when we did it in the film. So it really helped. The character was kind of already there. I knew Ellie so well because I'd known her from the play, that it didn't feel like a stretch to do the film. It meant that I could kind of just have fun with it and play with it because I wasn't working out who the character was so much. I'd already done that work for the play. So it just made it a lot easier, I think.
And then what were some differences like that happened between the play and the movie? Since you could, like, I guess, expand locations, was there anything that you felt was added to it from the play to the film?
Yeah, for sure. You can do anything in film. You can't in a play. There were a lot of scenes in Ellie's room, in her bedroom in the play, because we were quite restricted. It's like kind of like the living room, her bedroom, and school. Those were the kind of three big areas. And obviously in the film we can do everything we want, which is exciting. So I think, Mon worked really hard to bring that to life and utilize that, which was exciting to see the changes in the best way. Mon, if you want to speak more to that.
Yes, no, it changed quite a lot, like between the two. It went from being something that was very dialogue heavy, and it's still very dialogue heavy. It's a dialogue heavy film, because I love dialogue, but it allowed us to explore characters, like the character of Tara. Like, we could go more into her story. It gave the character of Abbie more depth. It wasn't solely, it still was obviously very much Ellie's point of view, but it allowed us to spend time, with other characters and give them more time. So that was definitely a big thing that changed, from the play to the film.
Other than Sophie, were there other characters that crossed over from the play to the film?
No, Soph was the only one. The Abbie in the play was played by an actress called Geraldine Viswanathan, who she finished doing the play, and then like a week later she was on a plane to LA because she got a role in that film Blockers, which the Kay Cannon film, and then she just went to LA and she's still there, and now she's doing like TV shows with Daniel Radcliffe and stuff. So yeah, so I like underpaid her, and then I gave her $200 for doing a community, like a profit share theatre show, and I'm the last person to ever underpay her, I believe. But yes, everyone else is brand new.
Exactly. So you're a rainmaker, Monica. So Sophie, get ready.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. So how did Julia get on board?
The old-fashioned way. I got an email through from my agent saying, "Hey, Jules, I think you might want to have a look at this audition." Read the script, loved it. Had one of those something an actor should never do, which is like really, really want that one particular project when you go in for an audition. There's something kind of helpful about going in and doing good work and giving it your best, but also kind of having a healthy not caring about it. Right. Didn't have that for this one. So I went in there. I knew I really wanted it. did the best thing that I kind of felt that I could in the audition, and thankfully was cast in it. So yeah.
Julia, I mean, you did a great job with it. Let me ask you had that scene when you were at your sister's office. Obviously, you were a ghost, you weren't there, and then she had her breakdown. Like, did you draw on any personal experiences to draw, for your emotion in that scene? Because you were there and you were also affected by what was going on.
I kind of didn't need to, because everything that Marta was doing was so amazing. I just had to listen. It's one of the absolute treasures of what it is to work with really, really talented actors. And I've had a few fabulous little occasions where I've worked with really creme de la creme actors, and Marta brought so much to that scene and that moment. I just had to be present, and that was it. I know that kind of sounds really, am I even allowed to use the word wanky? But
yeah.
It's
Edit
kind
that
of
out,
true,
Becca.
right? She's in that chair, and I watch her go from, flustered and office headspace to this, into a genuine breakdown with genuine tears in her eyes. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to watch with my heart open. So it was great working with Marta.
Well, it's really astonishing, this cast that you put together, Monica, because Marta Dusseldorp is kind of, like Julia said, I mean, creme de la creme of acting in Australia. And you had mentioned, or we were talking earlier about this being put together with crowdfunding for $50,000 before you went and got the distribution and all of that. How did you afford these people? How did you work that out?
Well, luckily, people like Martha and Rachel, fell in love with the story. Rachel, I knew working as an assistant on a show called Top of the Lake, and with Jane Campion, and Rachel was on that show, and I met Rachel driving her to set, which is a really, I'd say, good note for people that are like starting out in those jobs. Those assistant jobs can be so valuable if you build good relationships over time. They can really, really pay off. But in all honesty, I did pay them, but they worked for the Australian minimum wage. They weren't requesting anything that we couldn't afford, and it was one of those things that it just had to be in our tiny crowd-funded budget of knowing that, like, I know this will pay off if I can get actors like that. So that is a long-term investment in hoping that, the money is going to come later. And it was an investment that paid off, but I am very grateful for them for not asking for what they could have asked for, to be honest.
Monica, how long was actually the whole process? Like, once you got the funding to start it, like, how long was, principal photography and then the editing and doing the sound and getting it all done? How long was that process?
It was a blindingly fast process. We shot in 10 days, principal photography in 10 days. 2 days later, I got on a plane to Cannes Film Festival with a trailer that was cut from what we had shot in those 10 days. And I was there for 5 days, I think, the sickest I've ever been in my life, because we had just finished shooting. So I, naturally was very sick and run down, and then got on a long haul flight and got off at the other end with my tonsils like the of my neck. And I just went to meeting after meeting after meeting with distributors and sales agents and funding bodies, and just to sell it, to basically get a yes that was going to get us into the next stage of which is going to get us into post-production, basically. And I would wake up in the morning, take a bunch of drugs to keep me going, go out, have all these meetings, come home at 3 p.m. and die. It was a very not exciting Cannes experience. I did not go to one party or one film screening. I literally just had meetings. But that paid off. From that trip, I got our post-production deal. I'd basically built the relationship with Screen Australia, who ended up which is so funny. Like, I didn't meet with Screen Australia in Australia. I had to go to Cannes to meet with them when they were just like open for meetings, as opposed to, you know, having to go through all the kind of hoops. And that's when we had the first like conversations with our distributors as well. So basically that trip paid off. So that was a real, like a 3-week time frame that all those things happened. And then we got into post pretty quickly from there. So yeah, it was a whirlwind. And then considering we had finished shooting in like April or May 2019, and we were opening Mardi Gras Film Festival at February 2020. So that's how fast everything happened.
How long did you do post?
I think like it was drawn out for a, but like the edit, I think went for like, the main edit went for a month, and then came back with like notes. Then we did some pickups and some reshoots, and then we went back into the edit. We had picture lock with sound and everything about 2 weeks before our premiere. So that kind of continued. The sound is the longest, you know, the longest thing to fix when it comes to low budget filmmaking. Like there's always, the sound was what needed the attention, and some of the color grade. But yeah, it was like we'd kind of do it in bits, and then it would stop for a bit, and then we'd do it in bits, and then we'd stop. And then once we had a deadline, it just was like go, 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 go.
You know, this is a story I have heard from very few filmmakers. Usually it's like a much longer, drawn out process, and you were obviously a go-getter. Is this partially because of your experience working with television and the pace of TV?
That's why I can write really fast. I'm very good at writing fast because like working on Tonightly with Tom Ballard, that was a nightly show. That was like working on something like The Daily or something like that, where you had to like adapt. You'd get a news story that morning and you'd have to create a show around it. So in that way I can make faster, and I can make decisions quickly. I think that helps me direct things quickly. Like I never like ponder a decision for too long. I just make a decision and just hope for the best. And sometimes that pays off and sometimes it doesn't. But I think I'm very much like you win some, you lose some in that kind of thing. Like when you've got to get it done in 10 days, you've got to get it done in 10 days. So you can't be precious about things. So I think in that way, it definitely helped me. And, you know, we were just lucky that the partners we ended up partnering with wanted to get it out quickly, could see like this, you know, we want to sell this quickly and we want it in the festivals quickly. And, you know, that's what really pushed it.
So to Sophie and Monica, I'm kind of curious, like in the creative process, even though it was a very rushed job, Sophie, since you inhibited the role for so long and then it transitioned to the film, were you guys able to work to sort of like creative input from yourself to inform your character a little bit more, like with changes that occurred from the play to the film, of things that you wanted to bring, but now that you have some breathing space while the film was being made to like inject that in there?
I mean, I think given that Mon kind of knew that I would be playing Ellie in the film, I mean, this is an assumption on my part, Mon, but like she would have written it knowing that I would be Ellie, and she would have me in her brain as she wrote it. So I think that there's certainly elements of myself in Ellie. Things like I'm 5'10", so I'm very tall and I have lots of hair, and like Ellie's kind of very, you know, gangly and kind of a bit of an awkward kind of character, and I think a lot of that comes from me. So she's definitely not a cool girl. So yeah, I certainly think that kind of was played up a bit in the film, that and those kind of elements. And there are like homages to the play, things like Abby's character is a horse girl in the film, and that comes from Jerry, who played Abby in the play, is a real life horse girl, and so that's like a homage to her. So I think there's beautiful little like elements of the play and elements of myself and other actors in the film that have made it there. And it's lovely seeing people who came to the play in this little tiny theatre in inner city Sydney under a flight path, who then came to, Mardi Gras opening night and saw the film there. So it's kind of been a beautiful journey for all the people who have had any kind of involvement in the story to see it from this little tiny play into this film that people love. So it's been really fun.
I thought this film was so relatable and so entertaining. And there's this one scene in particular, which is actually even in your trailer, where Ellie is on her phone in the bathroom. And you can just see she's like cyber stalking Ellie. And then she accidentally almost, drops her phone and she's like, oh my God. Please, God, I didn't like the post from 6 months ago. That is so relatable to everybody. There are so many scenes in this show that made me laugh out loud. I want to hear from you guys, starting with Julia. Like, were there any scenes that just you watch and you just start laughing?
I mean, that one gets me every time. It's genius that it's like the start of the trailer. There's so many. The awkward conversations between Ellie and Abbie when she's like, how you doing? Just going to class. It's lunch. We've all been that awkward teenager that's like had mega crush on someone and just like lost the ability to speak or be human or walk. There's too many for me to pick one out, I'm afraid.
Do you have a favorite one, Sophie?
I think that the interaction after, like, all of the stuff in detention between the girls, I love. And that, just the sheer awkwardness. I don't know if the AFL jokes.
Wait, I wanted to ask you, what is an AFL thing? Because
Australian Football League.
Australian Football League, yeah. This was something that,
Victor's
I've
the
always
best lesbian you're ever going to meet.
I do wear Birkenstocks.
What was that, Victor?
I do wear Birkenstocks.
You're an honorary lesbian, Victor.
Yeah.
It's a cliche in Australia that lesbians really like AFL. And so the joke is that, like, if you ask them if they like AFL, if they say yes, then they're probably gay. But I've always wondered, like, would international audiences kind of get that? Because certainly, like, we've screened New Zealand and, like, they got it because they were quite close. But I guess it is clear that it's kind of a fishing kind of question. But that scene always just gets me. It's really funny.
Monica,
Just
is there any part that you loved writing more than others?
Yeah. Oh God, it was all such a joy to write. I have to say, like, the scenes with the teacher as well. Like, I think they, like, one that is something that when I'm sure Lisa Rose from Mardi Gras Film Festival won't mind me telling the story, is that they're like, when it's really hard picking an opening night film because lesbians will go to a queer film, whether it's men or women, but gay men generally only go and see the film if it's gay men, if it's about men. So she was like, this is always something I have trouble with programming it. And so that's, again, why we were kind of one of the first kind of like Australian lesbian films to open the festival, or the first Australian lesbian film to open the festival. But gay men loved that teacher character. They loved her. And I think that is what connected them to this film. Like, at the opening night of Mardi Gras, Bridie Connell, who plays that character, they just flocked to her. And it's just so funny. There was like, she is the thing that has made gay men be like, yes, I will go see that lesbian film. Because that teacher is so funny. And so that's something that I'm really grateful for.
Yeah, we would literally, like, the rest of us would be like there, and people come up, like, gay men would come up to us and be like, loved your film, but the teacher, hilarious. And we were like, cool, thank you.
Yeah, the teacher, love that teacher.
And Bridie is so funny. When we shot that scene where Ellie drops the C-bomb, every single take of Miss Trimble's reaction, Bridie did something different. And it was
Ah!
so hard to keep a straight face because, like, I think once she fainted, and like
Yeah,
after
yeah.
Ellie says that she just faints. It was so hard to keep a straight face during it. Oh my goodness, it was so funny. She's so funny.
What does that like as a director when you have that many good takes? I mean, she is a comedian, is she not? She's a stand-up comedian, and
Yeah.
I can, from my limited experience in that type of arena, I get bored with my joke after the first time, and so then I have to do a different one, and then a different one, and then a different one. I think it's called New Choice. Is also like an improv where you always just tell people new choice and they have to do a whole new thing.
Yeah.
That girl probably loves playing new choice.
She does, and she is a very talented improv performer, so it's in her. But she gave us so many options. It was and that was such a hard scene to shoot because we were outdoor, under a flight path, birds, light was changing. Like, we had so much against us, and every time before we could say cut, we had to wait for what Bridie was going to do. And if anyone cracked up, we'd lose, like, we'd have to start again. So it was this thing of like Bridie was doing these brilliant offers and everyone's standing there kind of like behind the camera biting. I was biting my fist to not laugh and like ruin the take that we had just gotten. And it was hard in the edit. There was so many to choose from. It was a really, really hard decision to pick which one to go with because they were all so great. But yes, that's definitely one of my favorite scenes.
To Sophie and Monica, one of the interesting things about the story that kind of caught our attention is the fact that Ellie coming out really wasn't the big deal. The tension in the story was really more about her, wanting to go out to the formal with Abbie, and Ellie coming out was just kind of like matter of fact. And also, the character being like, oh, it's just, that's the times and all that place. But it affected us that it was like just not a big deal. And then it was purposely written that way, just to like make it be these are the times now. They've kind of changed, and it's kind of like water off a duck's back.
Yeah. In fact, in the earlier draft of the film, Ellie never actually comes out. Like, she never says it. She's just out when we meet her, which was actually something I really wanted. And it was kind of through kind of distributor notes and people that felt it was quite important that we needed to see, because her coming out is what triggers Cara showing up, and people felt we needed to see that. We needed to see that trigger, because in the previous draft she was explaining after the fact that this is why she showed up, and we missed. By doing that, we also missed the wonderful moment in the bathroom of Tara appearing and all that kind of stuff. So I ended up putting it back. I ended up putting it in for that reason. But I was very much like, if I'm going to put it in, it has to be something that's matter of fact, because it's not a film about a girl struggling with coming out. That's not what it is. It's it's about a girl trying to, ask someone out who she likes, and which is dramatic enough, I believe. So there was a lot of back and forth on that scene and how the performances should go. And the same with like Marta's performance. Like, we never wanted, even when Marta's reaction, or I should say Erica, Ellie's mum's reaction, is kind of strange. I never wanted it to be like, I never wanted you to think that she was upset about her daughter being gay. Like, I always wanted you to be able to see that there was, like, she was uncomfortable and she didn't know what to do, but I never wanted that moment to be dramatic. I always wanted to, have her kind of fumble a bit so that it was very clear that, this was not a mother who is anti her daughter being gay. This is her mother that there's something going on there for her, and what is that?
Well, on that topic, that's probably the deeper nuance of this whole film, which is such a romantic comedy. And then there's this real undertone of Ellie's mom having lost her sister, which is one of the most horrible things you can go through. And it's so destroying for a family. And then to see so much recreated in her daughter as her daughter comes out, like her sister, and then her daughter is attracted to someone who actually even resembles her sister's partner a little bit. I don't know if that was by design. Tell me more about the deeper side of how you put this story together, Monica.
Yeah, it was really important to me in the story to kind of acknowledge that while this is a modern rom-com for a girl who, has a lot of freedom, not complete freedom, but has a lot of freedom to like who she likes, that can happen because of people like her aunt who came before and had to fight, and it's an important thing to acknowledge. And it was a bit personal for me as well. Like in writing this story, like when I was writing the play, it was coming from a place of being like, I just want to write a fun lesbian rom-com. Like, why aren't there any? Why can't I, write that? Why do we only have But I'm a Cheerleader and that's it? Like what? And then as I was writing it, I was like, well, of course I want this and I want to write this story because I've had a very privileged gay life. Whereas someone like my own uncle had an incredibly hard gay life. And, and we have a really lovely relationship. And it's such a special kind of unspoken bond. But like I owe that to him. And I just knew that it was really important that even in storytelling that's acknowledged, like this simple love story exists because of this other story. And so when it came to writing Erica's character, it's very much about not with Ellie coming out and what that brings up for her. It's not coming from a place, I don't think, I'm sure in some levels it is, but the main drive isn't coming from a place of like she thinks what happened to her sister is going to happen to Ellie. It's more to do with her realizing that now if her daughter is gay and this is the life she's going to lead, that there are things now that she has to look at in the past that happened that she's not dealt with, that maybe she didn't fight hard enough to find out what happened. She's going to have to deal with that again. And that is something that she's done a very good job of, of putting to bed in herself, because she, it was all she could do at the time, and she did what she could. But now that things have changed, maybe she would have to look at that again, and that is just too painful for her.
Yeah. Julia, your character in the story, has she has her own arc as well. And I found it fascinating, like, the choice of Tara not to want to hear exactly what happened to her. Is that something like, if you were actually Tara, would you want to know exactly what happened to you? Or do you like that your character actually chose not wanting to know?
That's a tough one. I'm so sorry. I have a small cough. 1 second. I'm back.
Not a problem.
The life of COVID. It's a hard one. I think Julia, would probably want to know what happened. But
It's all good.
She does find out. She finds out, like, from hearing Erica talk about it, but then she, Ellie doesn't know that she knows that she was there for that. Yeah, so she does know. She just doesn't want all the details, I guess.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah.
Well, she's coughing up a lung. So did you intend to make the two characters look similar, or was it meaning the aunt's partner and Ellie? Yeah. Or was there just a coincidence? Because there's a similarity there.
Yeah. No. Well, there's I think other people have kind of known, and I think if you're like watching the trailer and trying to dissect stuff, you'd be like, oh, that's the connection. But no, total coincidence. They're completely different heritages.
But I mean, okay. So
there, you got the answer. Yeah, it just so happened to be that way.
I am
Yeah,
alive.
no, total coincidence.
Yeah, let's go back to Julia.
Hi, Julia.
Hello, I am alive.
So I think you basically kind of answered that you probably would want to know the details, but your character didn't. Do you agree with that decision of your character? Or, I mean, you had to do it because it was written, but are you happy that that was a choice made?
I completely understand that. She knows what happens in general. But the details of a death like that would be so horrific. Why would you want to go through that trauma again with a fine-tooth comb? Yeah. Sorry for the cough, everyone.
No worries, no worries.
Well, I have to say that, Monica, the casting for this film is excellent. I can't imagine another person playing Tara. I can't imagine another person playing Ellie or Abbie. It's, there are some specific moments that I think of with each one of the characters that were it played by another actor, I just can't even imagine the scene working the same way. And I mean, even like, I'll just mention this particular scene with Sophie, just the way you look at Ellie.
Yeah. Abbie.
Am I saying that right?
Abbie.
Abbie, that's it. I was combining them like they were one, because that's what happens after that's the second part of the show. Is when they become one. So, but there's a scene where you guys look at each other and just like this moment where you just kind of, I'm not an actress. You just, I don't know. That was a loose interpretation, but there were so many scenes that I just, they just kind of grab you. And so you're laughing in 1 minute and then your heart is taken. And I mean, personally, just the whole sister thing just really, really connected with me. And I just love this film so much. I'm so grateful that you all came to the festival and virtually. And I'm so glad. You must also understand that because of the distribution and because there have been so many films that have been canceled, or film festivals that have been canceled, a lot more films have flooded our way. And so being selected for this particular film festival is really, we really trimmed it right down. So I just want you to walk away knowing that, being in our festival was a really big deal this year, and we were really happy to have it. And as I mentioned, the acting, the writing, the directing is just outstanding. Victor, wouldn't you agree?
I would definitely agree. I used to be really not the best at picking the lesbian films for the festival. Generally, my rule was if I liked it, the lesbians wouldn't like it, and vice versa. But I'm happy to say that both Jen and I liked it, and we know the audience loved it as well. So you should I think you'll be very happy and proud, and I'm very curious to see what the audience award votes are going to come in as, because I think it'll most likely do very well.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We love awards.
Yeah, we love praise. But thank you so much. I'm so glad you enjoyed it so much.
Praise.
I love it. I love praise. I love attention. I love it all. So if you are watching the film and you like it, I don't know if this will play before or after the film, this Q&A.
Right after.
Let us know. Right after, yes. Let us know on Instagram and stuff. Like, we're all very active. We love the interaction and the feedback. It's really wonderful.
Tell us you like
And then
yeah.
I'll do a quick plug here. The film started playing on Friday night, August 28th. But if you're watching this Q&A, you haven't watched the film, you basically have till September, I think, 1st or 2nd to watch the film through our streaming platform on the website. So if you're catching this after the film got released, you still got plenty of time. You have until Tuesday, September 1st.
Exactly. Yeah, what he said. So, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. It really means a lot to us that you took the time. I know you guys have a time to cut off. So with that, we'll just say congratulations on your film. I can't wait to see you guys again, because I feel like you guys will be back in some way, shape, or form at another one of our festivals, and we look forward to the next Q&A with all of you. So thank you so much. Okay, enjoy your morning.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm putting it out into the universe that I did not just like a post from 6 months ago.
Still in school, Captain?
Nothing, just gone to class.
Lunch.
Yeah.
You know those people who make fun of you because you drink almond milk? It's not my fault I'm lactose intolerant.
I'm gay. You're such a bigot.
That went really well.
How would you feel if a strange woman showed up in your bathroom claiming to be your dead aunt?
Let's bring it in.
Coming out is hard, and I have been sent here to help you through it.
What about grandchildren?
Oh, come on, shut up.
Here is a list of conversation topics. We're making this a big deal, and it's no big deal.
What is on this note?
Don't be such a c***.
No. This is ridiculous. We used to talk about everything.
So your mum has never told you about how you died?
I get this is all really new and exciting for you, but it's not for me.
What did you say this story was like? A car crash that you couldn't look away from. All you have done is make me feel different.
Different is wonderful.
Shut up!
You might not be at that age yet where you realise your parents are just human.
I just want what's best for her. I want life to be easy for her.